यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 19, entitled Appearance of Sukdev Goswami, Text 13. Raj Uvacha Aho Vayam Dhanyataman Nripanam Mahatmanugrahaniya Shilaha Radnyam Kulam Brahmana Pada Sochad Durad दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्मा अहो वयं धन्यतमा नृपाणाम् महत्तमानुग्रहणीयशीलः राज्ञां कुलं ब्राह्मणपादशौचात् दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्मा अहो वयं धन्यतमा नृपाणाम् महत्तमानुग्रहणीयशीलः राज्ञां कुलं ब्राह्मणपादशौचात् दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्मा राजोवाच अहो दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्मा राजोवाच अहो वयं धन्यतमा नृपाणाम् महत्तमानुग्रहणीयशीला राज्ञां कुलं ब्राह्मणपादशौचात् दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्मा राजोवाच अहो वयं धन्यतमा नृपाणाम् महत्तमानुग्रहणीयशीला राज्ञां कुलं ब्राह्मणपादशौचात् दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्यम् राजोवाच अहो वयं धन्यतमा नृपाणाम् महत्तमानुग्रहणीयशीला राज्ञां कुलं ब्राह्मणपादशौचात् दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्मा राजोवाच अहो वयं धन्यतमा नृपाणाम् महत्तमानुग्रहणीयशीलः राज्ञां कुलं ब्राह्मणपादशौचात् दूराद्विसृष्टं बत गर्ह्यकर्मा word to word meaning. Rajuvacha, the fortunate king said, Aho, aha, vayam, we, dhanyatamaha, most thankful, nripana, of all the kings, mahattama, of the great souls, anugrahaniya silaha, trained to get favors, radnyam, of the royal, kulam, orders, brahmanapad, feet of the brahmanas, shauchat, a refuge after cleaning. Durat, at a distance. Vishrastam, always left out. But on account of. Garhya, condemnable. Karma, activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The fortunate king said, "Indeed, we are the most grateful of all the kings who are trained to get favors from the great souls. Generally, you, sages, consider royalty as refused to be rejected and left in a distant place." Please repeat translation. The fortunate king said, "Indeed, we are the most grateful of all the kings who are trained to get favors from the great souls. Generally, you, sages, consider royalty as refused to be rejected and left in a distant place." Purport. According to religious principles, stool, urine, wash water, etc. must be left at a long distance. Attached bathrooms, urinals, etc. may be very convenient amenities of modern civilization, but they are ordered to be situated at a distance from a residential quarters. That very example is cited herein in relation to the kingly order for those who are progressively marching back to Godhead. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that to be in intimate touch with dollars and cents men or kingly order is worse than suicide for one who desires to go back to Godhead. In other words, the transcendentalists do not generally associate with men who are too enamored by the external beauty of God's creation. By advanced knowledge in spiritual realization, the transcendentalist knows that this beautiful material world is nothing but a shadowy reflection of the reality, the kingdom of God. They are not therefore very much captivated by royal opulence or anything like that. But in the case of Maharaj Pariksit, the situation was different. Apparently, the king was condemned to death by an inexperienced Brahmana boy, but factually he was called by the Lord to return to him. Other transcendentalists, the great sages and mystics who assembled together because of Maharaj Pariksit's fasting unto death, were quite anxious to see him, for he was going back to Godhead. Maharaj Pariksit also could understand that the great sages who assembled there were all kind to his forefathers, the Pandavas, because of their devotional service to the Lord. He therefore felt grateful to the sages for being present there at the last stage of his life, and he felt that it was all due to the greatness of his late forefathers or grandfathers. He felt proud, therefore, that he happened to be the descendant of such great devotees. Such pride for the devotees of the Lord is certainly not equal to the puffed up sense of vanity for material prosperity. The first is reality, whereas the other is false and vain. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Before beginning, I would like to seek blessings of all devotees present here, so that I speak on this Bhagavatam for my own purification and pleasure of all devotees, glorification of the Lord, and it should be in the parampara. So this first verse, when Parikshit Maharaj, he decided, this is the first verse King Parikshit is speaking, when he decided to, when he got this news that he is cursed by the Shringi Rishi and he will die in 7 days by the bite of Takshaka bird, snake. And then he decides, he goes to the bank of Yamuna, Ganga, and all the sages, the previous verses is description of arrival of all great sages from different planetary system along with the disciples. That day Damodar Prabhu explained that they practically, the sages, they practically took all the disciples. The ashrams were empty. They locked the ashrams on the pretext of making pilgrimage. Now this is the first verse Maharaj Parikshit is speaking. So he is saying, Aho Vayam Dhanyatama. He is saying actually we are most, here Prabhupada, he has Prabhupada has given, we are most grateful. So he is feeling, when all the sages they have come to see, to witness the departure of Parikshit Maharaj to spiritual world. So here Prabhupada in the purport, it is very interesting, he says, other transcendentalists, the great sages and mystics who assembled together because of Maharaj Parikshit's fasting unto death were quite anxious to see him, for he was going back to Godhead. So Prabhupada is writing that they were anxious to see him. Usually in the material world, if we want to be successful, usually what we do, we study or we hear success stories of those respective fields where we want to become successful. And that is the inspiration for us to be successful. So what we do, we watch, we hear about that particular personality. We try to follow in his footsteps, we try to imitate sometimes. Like many times I remember in my childhood, one of our relatives, he was very intelligent person, so he used to always study as a child, even as a child. And he was very intelligent, always good in academics. So my mother, she would always tell me, "Arey, please see that particular boy, relative, how he studies." So sometimes I used to try and imitate him. I also used to sit with books, but you cannot imitate for long actually. So here also, so that is the case of material success stories, and you get inspiration by seeing them. So similarly, Bhagavatam is also description about devotees of the Lord. When we hear, when we understand their life, we also get inspiration. Irrespective of our current situation of the heart, struggle, conditioning, past background, past many lives background, irrespective of that, when we sincerely hear, by accepting spiritual master, when we sincerely hear these success stories from Bhagavatam, we also get inspiration to follow in their footsteps and become successful. But the interesting thing with hearing about spiritual stories, or the common, you can say, the common thread in these spiritual success stories, when we hear, it may be little unusual than compared to the spiritual success stories. Here, the character or the devotees, they always pose themselves as very humble, fallen. Actually, they are not fallen, they are most elevated, exalted. But that is the mercy, great mercy of the Lord, because of their sincere practice. And thus they have that natural feeling that I am most fallen, I am most unworthy. It is just mercy of devotees, spiritual master, Vaishnavas, Lord. So when we hear that, that may be very difficult to digest, that I am, that then I also have to pose myself or understand myself as fallen. But this is very contrary to the material way of carrying oneself or understanding that you are most fallen, you are most unworthy, insignificant. But that is the reality, and this is the common thread in the behavior of great souls, that they never claim themselves very great, very accomplished. Now here, King Parikshit, he is saying, when he is, after welcoming the the different sages to this meeting, he is expressing, he is saying, actually, first thing is, he is saying, I am most grateful of all the kings who are trained to get favors from great souls. Generally, you consider royalty as refused to be rejected and left in a distant place. So here he is expressing, actually, I am like a refuse to be rejected, or I am never to be taken near, I should be kept at a distant place. So he is expressing that he is like a refuse. Now, who is King Parikshit? If we see, actually, he has seen Lord in the womb. When when Ashwathama tried to kill by throwing this Brahmastra on the womb of Uttara. So Lord Krishna personally came to save him. Now he is not ordinary. No, Lord is coming and saving in the womb before even taking birth. And not just that, he even stopped Kali from entering his kingdom. And then ultimately, so stopped Kali means he actually stopped time in one sense. He has a power, Lord says, I am the time. So he stopped the Kali first, he checked the entry of Kali. But ultimately he on the request, plea of the Kali, he gave shelter also. And he was ruler of all the world. So, he is not ordinary, but he is thinking that, oh, I am to be rejected. I don't deserve this association of great sages, he is thinking. So first we'll discuss about this verse. Actually here three things Prabhupada is focusing in the purport. The first thing he says, actually this Prabhupada is saying, so he is explaining about this Durad Visrastam Bhatgarya Karma, that generally royalty should be considered as a refuse to be rejected and left in a distant place. So a person who is serious about advancing in spiritual life, he should be very careful about the association. He should not associate with rich people, those who are interested in the external advancement in terms of money, post, position, followers. So a spiritualist, he should be very careful to not to associate with them. And Prabhupada is citing here the example, he is giving example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he said that intimate touch with dollars and cents men or the kingly order is worse than suicide for one who desires to go back to Godhead. It is worse than suicide. Worse than suicide means what? Suicide is what? Our body is finished. Worse than suicide means not just body, but in not just one life, but many lifetimes, we will be lost from our actual goal of spiritual, our actual goal of going back to Godhead. So we have to be very careful. And in this connection, he denied, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself denied the audience to King Pataprata. He said, how can, when devotees they were requesting, please give him mercy, please give him mercy. He said, better I commit suicide, but I cannot do that. But ultimately, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he saw his humility, he was, I think, brooming the, sweeping the road, a royal road before Jagannath's cart. And he, in very humble way, so then Lord said, okay, no problem. He gave mercy. So basic point is this. So as a spiritualist, we also have to be very careful not to associate and always on guard. So Prabhupada is speaking about that thing. And then next Prabhupada in the purport, he is saying, actually, this gratitude of Parikshit Maharaj. He is saying actually, all of these sages, they have come here not because of my own greatness or achievement. He is thinking, because my grandfathers, they were great devotees of the Lord. So, because of them, all of them, they have, because of their greatness, these sages, they have come here, and I am witnessing their presence, or I am getting their association. And he is feeling proud of himself, that because my grandfathers, they were great devotees, I am so fortunate. And then this pride is not because it is not like material pride due to material prosperity or accomplishments. But this is actual reality, Prabhupada is saying. So, actually in Bhagavatam, many places when devotee association is there. Now actually, in one sense, our situation, what is our situation here? Parikshit Maharaj is feeling so fortunate. In spite of this curse, actually, this is the speciality of devotee. Now, if we see his situation is, he is cursed to die. So, obviously, one will be in lot of anxiety that I will die. Oh, why this should happen to me? Actually, I am doing so nicely. I am rendering service, and suddenly one gets some unexpected thing in life. So one may feel very much dejected or discouraged. Why this should happen? Oh, maybe uh, I am not right or things like that. But here, actually, he is feeling I am most fortunate in spite of the difficulty he is struggling, he is having. He is thinking that this association is the most important thing. He is feeling dhanyatama. This understanding, we have some basic understanding. Dhanya, dhanyatar, dhanyatam. He is feeling I am most fortunate. This guhya, guhyatar, guhyatam. So he is feeling I am most fortunate. Now, if somebody is told you will die in 7 days, and then he will feel, upon receiving a devotee, he will say, "Oh, I am so fortunate that I am getting your association." Actually, it is very amazing, and it is natural. Actually, it is because he understands that there is spiritual world. He has complete faith, realization. It is not ordinary thing because of his sincerity. So similarly, actually, we also have to try to understand gradually. Obviously, it is not possible in one day, 1 year, 10 years, whatever. It depends on individual sincerity. But Prabhupada says one who follows, actually, this recently I heard, Prabhupada says to every member of ISKCON that you follow these regulative principles which I am giving, and you will surely come back to Godhead. Now, many times one may, and this question may arise, just by following, just by doing these 16 rounds, and just by following regulative principles, taking prasad, how can one go back to Godhead? This question may obviously come to my mind, come to our mind. So recently I heard one class where devotee was saying, actually, Lord, when some pure devotee, when somebody, a pure devotee of Krishna, he says something, then it is Krishna's job, it is Lord's job to make sure that the words spoken by pure devotees are true always. So when Prabhupada says this, it is 100% guarantee that Krishna will make sure that his words are true. Now he was saying, what is our duty as a member, as a followers of Prabhupada? We have to sincerely try to follow his instructions. Oh, Prabhupada says, as much as possible, try attentively chanting this. Then treat other devotees as Prabhu. Actually, in one lecture, I remember Prabhupada says, we have this system in ISKCON that you call other member as Prabhu. So it is not theoretical. You have to accept him as Prabhu. Prabhupada says like this. So he says chant, respect devotees, cooperate with devotees. Prabhupada says actually love, you will show love by how much you cooperate when I am not there. So all these instructions when Prabhupada is giving, if one follows seriously, sincerely, as per one's capacity, ability, irrespective of all other things like educational background, accomplishments, ashram. So if one sincerely follows, then Krishna will surely take that devotee back to Godhead. So this when I heard, I felt very nice actually, encouraging, inspiring. So, why I spoke this? Krishna's words. So the Parikshit Maharaj, even if he knows that I will die, but association, when he is getting the association of these great souls, he is feeling that as the most, he is feeling dhanyatama, he is feeling I am most fortunate, and he is grateful for that. So this is also very important. Prabhupada, I was just reading translation of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So dhanya, in Marathi also we have this word, we use many times. Mi dhanya zhalo. So that dhanya word is, I am most fortunate. But Prabhupada, he is writing, we are most grateful. He is writing grateful. So when one feels, I am most fortunate actually, one may become proud also. Oh, I have done this, I have achieved this. मैं धन्य हो गया, मतलब मैंने अचीव किया, मुझे एडमिशन मिल गया आईआईटी में, मैंने स्टडी किया, मुझे मिल गया, या कोई जॉब मिल गया, whatever. But that Prabhupada is writing actually most grateful means attitude is, even though he is most fortunate, he is rare to get such audience of not just one sages, so many sages, he is feeling that I am most grateful. So first thing is actually we have to value the association, and in association always we have to be grateful. So this is very important in almost all the devotees lectures which we hear of disciples of Prabhupada. Actually the emphasis is this gratitude. And what is our situation? Actually we also have got this association by some rare fortune. And we also have to try to imbibe these qualities. There will be difficulty because from many lifetimes we are habituated to control, we want to be Ishwar basically. And this is not that I have cultivated this just last 10 years or this lifetime. This we have cultivated just from the time immemorial, Anadi. And that is the reason of our coming to this spiritual, the material world. So we will fail, we will feel that, oh, hopeless, it is not possible for me. But if we sincerely try, in spite of repeated failures, with sincerity, with honesty, with prayers, and by pleasing devotees, if we do, then we have some hope. Because we are already in the association, now we have to be very careful. So I just thought of reading some verses from NOI. Actually here, Rupa Goswami, he gives this nectar of instruction, he gives a formula how to associate with devotees. Now our situation is, we are already in the association, and it is not that just there will be one interaction, oh, one day I have to stay in the association and that's done. No, we have to stay in the association till the time we go back to spiritual world. So we have to be always careful actually. We are most fortunate. Now we have to feel that gratitude actually, and for that regularly it is abhyas actually, it is practice. It is not going to happen in one day, whatever expected time. It will take its own time by the mercy of Vaishnavas and Lord. So here he gives very nice things. So first, any guess which is the verse, first verse from NY? Bhakti Shastra. On association, which is the first verse, how to take association. This is fourth verse. Dadati pratigranati guhyam akhyati pritchati bhungte bhojayate chaiva shadvidam priti lakshanam. And before these verses, they are more about individual. It takes individual effort actually. They are about those are individual instructions. All are individual, but this is specifically about association, I feel. You may have some different understanding, which may be true. But this is dadati pratigranati. So when we come in the association, and here Prabhupada, he writes very nice thing, one devotee was sharing. Even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between two loving friends are absolutely necessary. I will read again. Even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between two loving friends are absolutely necessary. Because we are in this material world, and it is said human is social animal. So these needs we cannot deny amongst devotees. And these dealings should not be artificial, should not be with return expectation. So here, dadati pratigranati, we should give, we should accept. Guhyamakhati, we should express our mind. Then devotees, they may express. And this is centered around Krishna. This is not material exchange, just like two outsiders, friends they have. They are purely based on spiritual understanding with Krishna, devotee, the mission of Prabhupada in the center. Bhungte bhojayate chaiva shadvidam priti lakshanam. So actually this priti, if it is not there amongst devotees, then we will repose that priti somewhere else. Actually, so this is very important in association. This type of priti should be there, and based on priti, if we have that priti, we express it through these 6 exchanges. Then next verse is how to respect devotees. Here it is says, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranitibhischa bhajantam isham Sushrusaya bhajana vigyam ananyamanya nindadi shunyaradam ipsita sangalabdhya. I will just read translation. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotees who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So first thing is exchanges. We should have very loving exchanges. So basically, if we have respect, if we have some affection, then only this is possible. Otherwise, many times I have seen myself, I become very artificial in the association of devotees. When some new person comes or some non-devotee I am interacting, I am very natural. This is my own experience I am just sharing. I feel when I come in the association, I try to restrain myself. I try to be indifferent. If some devotee is doing something nice, I don't acknowledge that. I just be indifferent. I overlook that. Or if there is opportunity to express something, I don't do that. So that way I am very artificial, and because of that I feel there is a dryness sometimes, or most of the times. It is not because association is not there, I am not reading. I read, I hear, but I don't apply, I don't situate myself in that, in those instructions. I don't try to apply. And because of that, I feel dryness. And then devotees also, they also reciprocate accordingly. This is very famous saying of Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj. He says, in giving you receive. Whatever you are giving, if you are giving love, if you give smile, others will smile. If you speak a word, they will also acknowledge. And many times, even while taking prasad, if devotee is there, actually these are very important things, at least I feel. Because if we are not sensitive, if we are not acknowledging the presence of devotees, how can we be Krishna conscious? At least how Lord will allow us to be Krishna conscious. So as per this word, it is Rupa Goswami, he is saying that we should mentally honor. So the association starts with mentally honoring devotees. And it is not that the devotees with whom we stay, with whom we interact, they are just taking name once in a day or a week. Actually, they are taking effort regularly. They are getting up. So many distractions which are alluring them, they are avoiding that. They are taking effort. They are putting so much endeavor to avoid that, sincerely trying, struggling. Sleep is coming, feeling tired, mind is distracting, but they are taking so much effort, every devotee, for chanting each mantra. So such devotees, how much we should honor actually. And those who are initiated, to them we should respect. And we should serve those who have this is very interesting, whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So these are the topmost devotees. Who is the topmost? One who has, whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. And this is the main problem, at least I feel in my own life, because even if I externally appreciate, I am appreciating, I am smiling, but internally I am not having that total respect. So this propensity to criticize others, this is very important. And last verse in the association, what we should do is, this is also very important, should not criticize. This is also very nice verse. Driste svabhava janiter vapushascha dosher न प्राकृतत्वमिह भक्त जनस्य पश्येत् गंगां भसाम्न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पंकैर ब्रह्म द्रवत्वमपगच्छति नीरधर्मे. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the water of Ganga, which sometimes during the rainy seasons are full of bubbles, foam and mud. The Ganga waters do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding bathe in the Ganga without considering the condition of the water. So this is very important. We should not draste swabhava janitair vapushasya doshe. Whatever defects devotees have, they are swabhava janita. They have got this body, they have particular swabhava of acting, speaking. So we have to always forgive that, overlook that. So I will stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. And sorry, today is also, this month is starting Purushottam month, but I think we have heard from Maharaj today. Hare Krishna. So this month we have to become more sincere as much as possible. Please pray for me also, that I should be serious. Hare Krishna. Thank you.